Episode 22, Supplemental B, The Declaration of the Rights of the Toiling and Exploited People. The Central Executive Committee proclaims the following fundamental tenets. The Constituent Assembly resolves Section 1, Number 1. Russia is declared to be a republic of Soviets of workers, soldiers, and peasants' deputies. All power in the center and in the localities resides in these Soviets. 2. The Soviet Russian Republic is founded on the bases of a free union of free nations as a federation of Soviet national republics. Section 2. By putting as its fundamental goal the destruction of any kind of exploitation of man by man, the complete elimination of the division of society into classes, the merciless suppression of the exploiters, the establishment of a socialist organization of society, and the victory of socialism in all countries, the Constituent Assembly further resolves 1. For the realization of socialization of the land, private ownership of the land is abolished, and the entire land fund is declared common national property, and is transferred to the toilers without any redemption on a temporary basis of egalitarian land usage. All forests, subterranean deposits, and waterways of general state significance, as well as all live and inanimate inventory, all land and agricultural enterprises, are declared national property. 2. The Soviet law on worker control and on the higher Soviet of the national economy is confirmed for the purposes of the securing of the power of the toilers over the exploiters as the first step to the complete transference of workshops, factories, mines, railways, and further means of production and transport into the property of the Soviet Workers' and Peasants' Republic. 3. The transfer of all banks into the property of the workers' and peasants' state, as one of the conditions for the emancipation of the toiling masses from the yoke of capital, is confirmed. 4. For the purposes of the destruction of the parasitic sections of society and the organization of the economy, universal labor conscription is instituted. 5. In the interests of securing the entirety of authority for the toiling masses and the elimination of any possibility of the restoration of the power of the exploiters, the arming of the laborers, the formation of a socialist Red Army of workers and peasants, and the complete disarming of the owner classes is decreed. Section 3. 1. In expressing an unwavering resolve to tear humanity out from the claws of finance capital and imperialism, which has drowned the earth in blood in the current and most criminal of all wars, the Constituent Assembly wholly joins with the policy being conducted by Soviet power of the negation of secret agreements, of the organization of the widest fraternization with the workers and peasants, of the armies currently warring amongst themselves, and of the achievement, no matter what, by revolutionary measures, of a democratic peace between the peoples, without annexations and retributions, on the basis of the free self-determination of nations. 2. For the same purposes, the Constituent Assembly insists on the complete disavowal of the barbarian policies of bourgeois civilization, which has built the welfare of the exploiters in a few chosen nations on the enslavement of hundreds of millions of laborers in Asia, in the colonies in general, and in small countries. The Constituent Assembly welcomes the policies of the Soviet of People's Commissars, which has declared the complete independence of Finland, begun the withdrawal of troops from Persia, and announced the freedom of self-determination of Armenia. As the first strike upon international banking and finance capital, the Constituent Assembly is considering a Soviet law about the annulment, destruction, of loans secured by the governments of the Tsar, landowners, and bourgeoisie, while expressing confidence that Soviet power will continue firmly along this path right up to the total victory of the international workers uprising against the yoke of capital. Section 4. Being elected on the basis of party lists composed before the October Revolution, when the people still could not as one stand up against the exploiters, did not know the entire force of their resistance with their defense of their class privileges, and had not yet practically taken up the knowledge of a socialist society, the Constituent Assembly would consider it to be incorrect at root, even from a formal point of view, to place itself in opposition against Soviet power. In essence, the Constituent Assembly supposes that now, at the moment of a decisive battle of the people with their exploiters, there can be no place for the exploiters in even a single one of the organs of power. Power ought to belong in its entirety and exclusively to the laboring masses and their duly appointed government, the Soviet of Workers, Soldiers, and Peasants' Deputies. In supporting Soviet power and the decrees of the Soviet of People's Commissars, the Constituent Assembly acknowledges that its tasks are limited to a general working up of the fundamental bases of a socialist reconstruction of society. Along with this, in striving to create an actually free and voluntary, and consequently all the more complete and durable union of the toiling classes of all the nations of Russia, the Constituent Assembly limits itself to the instituting of the fundamental beginnings of a federation of Soviet republics of Russia, offering to the workers and peasants of each nation to take the decision of their own accord at their own plenipotentiary Soviet Congress. Do they wish, and on what foundations, to participate in a federal government and in the other federal Soviet institutions? The fundamental positions given above must be published immediately and read by an official representative of Soviet authority who opens the Constituent Assembly from the tribune of the Constituent Assembly, and must be placed as a foundation of the activities of the Constituent Assembly.